Hey there, friends, and welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Batten. I'm always so happy that you're here listening to me. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to answer a question today that I get a lot, and that is about what do I focus on? What should I be working on in my business? What is the thing that's going to make my business hum along a little bit smoother and easier? And most of the time, this comes from people that are seeking harmony, I think, in their business lifestyle. I always say harmony. I never say balance because it's really hard to balance our life and our business. And most of us that are self-employed are living in this. We have to find a harmony. We don't have a balance. It's all intertwined, right? So I wanted to answer the question because a lot of retailers think that they're the only one maybe with parts of their business that are not operating well. And why is that? Why am I not good at this or why am I not good at that? I want to talk and share today the ecosystem that I think that all retailers just need to be aware of. And I want you to be aware of the retailer's ecosystem. I know ecosystem's thrown around a lot and I've been playing around with it in my mind. So let's get to it. I promise this is a episode that's going to be really helpful to you in maybe processing how and where we should be spending our time, our energy, and in our focus on our businesses. So listen up, let's get to it. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. All right, so when I was out for a walk recently and I was trying to figure out how to explain something to one of my clients who was having some difficulties in certain areas of her business, and for whatever reason, I've heard, we've all heard, or maybe you haven't, but there's a lot of ecosystem has been tossed around. And an ecosystem is really just, having everything in balance, right? Making sure that everything is working together, the nature ecosystem system. I've heard it in lots of different ways. And I was thinking about a fish tank, and we've had fish tanks. And I was thinking about my husband's crazy, ridiculous, giant fish tank we had at one point in time in our basement. Bear with me. There is a very strong tie to how your business can grow by listening to Wendy talk about the fish tank. So a lot, like we started off with a fish tank, a little tiny bowl, some pretty rock, a little guy, what are they? Scuba guy, and a couple of goldfish in a small fish tank. That's how we started with our fish tank, and everything was fine. It was just like water and a fish and food once in a while. Like I don't even know. I don't know anything about the fish, by the way. This was all my husband and my kids. But so we had this little fish tank, and then we upgraded it. We had to put it in a bigger tank, and we wanted to get a bigger fish tank, and things changed with that. We had to have the little bubble machine, the aerator. I don't even know, whatever. People that are fish people are laughing right now. But then we had to have lights on it, and we had to add things, and we had to have different fish had to go in. And then we got a bigger fish tank. We moved to a saltwater fish tank, and then, all this ecosystem thing. I mean, I heard them all talking and heard all them paying attention, but everything changed again with the fish tank. And, we had to have different types of lights, and we had to have them on at different times, and we had to have different, we had to bring in more of these fish and less of those fish. And we really had to make sure that we were creating the right environment for the fish tank. And business is kind of like that as well. I mean, I know that's kind of sounds like a big stretch, but honestly, if we think of our, as we're growing our business, we all kind of start with, a lot of clients that I work with, we start with the fish bowl. We just had the fish bowl. We just had the independent shop. We just had a little shop. And maybe that's not how you started, but a lot of clients, had a great idea, and we had the fish bowl, and we had the pretty rocks, and we had the little scuba guy, and we just kind of made it work. And the fish and the products, we had a beautiful, cute little shop we started with, and not easy. And I know it wasn't easy to take care of, but we tended to it, and we tend to it. But as it grows and as we grow, so does so does the ecosystem, right? So we've got a little bit busy. We hired some employees. We realize that we have to pay more attention to the back end. We need a little air bubbles in there. We need to have a little more care. We might have to learn a little bit more. I can remember when my kids were learning about, my husband learning about the fish tank. They were on YouTube and Google, and then, at the fish store asking the experts, and, things change as our ecosystem changes. So even as our shops grow, our ecosystem grows. And I hope that is a visual. I'm a very visual person, very creative visual person. So when I was out walking, that day, and I started laughing, and I was thinking about the fish tank and all of that analogy. And so I hope that makes sense, because that's what made sense to my client at the time. I wanted to share it with you. So parts of our shop, everything that we do, all of the pieces, and where we should focus our attention, again, is it the light, more lights, more fish, more, I don't know, like, where do we spend our time? What do we do? Honestly, we have to do it all, but it depends on the stage of business that we're in. And what I mean by that is the little fishbowl versus the bigger and the bigger and the bigger all have the same needs: water, air, fish, food, whatever. Our businesses need all of the same as well. They need certain components, and I'm going to share those focuses with you. And I'm going to go through there's four things, like, air and water and food kind of thing, that I want to share with you, and hope that that this might help you a little bit when you're trying to think of where you should focus your attention. Because a lot of us have a tendency to spend all our focus on buying the pretty fish. We're just going to fill the fish tank with fish. No, I promise I will try to stop with the fish analogy, but honestly, that's how my brain works. So really, that's a really good way to think about where you're spending your time. So I'm going to give you the four parts of what I feel are really important parts of our ecosystem. And I hope that this helps you. So the first part is where most of us spend our time, and that's the front of house. That's how we start it. That's the shop itself, the front of house, like the things that the public sees, forward facing things, the products that we're buying. We spend a lot of time deciding on what products, and I mean, this isn't an easy thing. It was maybe easier when you first started, and as you're growing, things grow, the services, your merchandising, the things that we need, all of the things that we put into our store, staying fresh, keeping, wholesale pricing and all of that kind of thing, training our, having our staff on the floor. All of this is sort of front of house things. You're the merchandiser. You're wearing a lot of hats at this stage, running the whole front of house. And it's a lot of work. And it's usually the more fun thing to do. It's usually where we want to be. It's getting creative. It's being fun. I know a lot of you listening have workshops, creative workshops. So, it's organizing all of that and being part of that. And it's a lot, it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of attention, and it's a big important part of our ecosystem. But it's not the only part. So that's a big part where, again, a lot of us spend our time. The next sort of ecosystem, the next thing that we really need to make sure that we're taking care of, and there's lots of things that go underneath all of these ecosystems. I wanted to just give you the big picture view, by the way, friends. Like, there's lots of things underneath all of each of these four categories. And again, depending on where you are in your journey and the size of your shop and that type of thing. But the core things are, the first part is the front of house. The second part is you as the CEO. And again, I know I share a lot about really thinking about yourself as the CEO or the head honcho or the big visionary and the leader of your business. Whether you're a one person, running your shop without any help yet, or a booth space or whatever you're doing right now. If you're a single person, you're still the CEO. You still need to look at your business like the visionary. And if you have a large team underneath you, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things about taking care of the CEO role. And there's a lot of parts that go underneath, and we have to make sure that we're paying attention to. We have to stay healthy. We have to have self-care. A lot of retailers, this is a part that kind of gets left behind. And that is simply because if we fail, our business is going to fail. We have to make sure that our mindset is good under our CEO category. We all have imposter syndrome that comes up, thinking we're not good enough or we can't do things or it's too hard and we're not capable. Or maybe we're dealing with competitors. There's all kinds of mindset stuff that comes involved. Being the boss to people that we like, that are friends, but yet, we have some, maybe, we have to be the boss to them, and, understanding what healthy boundaries are. And things change. Again, when you first open up, you might just be yourself and one person. And then as you grow your team, there's a lot of responsibility, having paychecks. And there's so many things that fall under being the CEO. Your continued education is really important. Personal development is really important. Again, like my husband going out and learning more about his fish tank, we have to continue to learn about our business and how to run it healthy and effectively. And there's no end line when you're running a business. There's never an end line. Like this, you're never done. Like, I know it all. I can just move forward. We're always learning. We're always growing. So there's always things that are, we have to be responsible for making sure that we are doing, business development. And, we also at this stage, we should be looking at advisory, having, I say an advisory board, because I've talked about that on the podcast and we'll share that episode here, but making sure that we have support, make sure that we have mentors and coaches, and make sure that we have our business support, our accountants, our lawyers, our bookkeepers, whoever's helping you with your business. This is a really important part of that CEO role, and a part that might be kind of left alone. Again, there's certain parts of our ecosystem of running a business that we might not be paying attention to. So that is something that might be out of whack for you. And that's what I want to share here as we're talking through these 4 parts here. Just paying attention to what part of your ecosystem might be a little bit out of whack. So then the third part of the ecosystem, and these are in no particular order, to be honest, they all matter equally, is the business side, the business systems and strategies of your business. So I always call this the business systems. And that is understanding your numbers, understanding, like really having those dialed in, or understanding how important those are to your business. It's big picture planning. It's understanding cash flow. It's understanding your inventory. Again, back to your numbers. There's a lot of things under that. Future planning, being the visionary, like understanding like what your job is as the CEO to be visionary. Having yearly, quarterly, set goals, understanding how all of that, policies and procedures. And the goal here, with having your systems in place is, if we hope for success and don't plan for it, it won't happen, right? So that is the role of understanding, having our systems in place, everything being documented, understanding, our ordering, our classes, having our tools and our SOPs, our standard operating procedures in place. All of the things that we have to have set up to make sure that our business is running properly. The admin side, all of that falls under that business section. And that's a really important part, again, that a lot of us kind of set aside, like, I'll do that later, I'll plan later, I'll put those systems in place later, I'll get to it later. This might be an area in your business that is out of whack. Again, and I say out of whack because we all have things out of whack in probably all of the areas, but it is important to make sure that we're paying attention. So the next part is that's really important in our ecosystem, that I see a lot of retailers maybe not, like, they're doing it kind of winging this part of it. And maybe it's you, maybe it's not you, but it's having a solid marketing plan in place and a sales program in place. And by sales program, I mean really paying attention to how we're selling and how we're serving our clients, how we're training our staff. All of these things are super important. Having our brand values and keeping our brand integrity, understanding your customer, your ideal customer, how to, having a solid attract strategy or having a solid marketing plan in place. And again, you can go and listen to, we have a podcast on marketing, and I have a program called Foot Traffic Made Simple that's really helpful for that as well. But understanding that having our whole trends and our customer experience nailed down, and understanding how we're merchandising to sell, not just to make it pretty, having, good signage and communication, understanding what foot traffic actually means and how to get foot traffic into our shops, understanding what conversion means, meaning understanding the numbers, and what are we measuring to make sure that we're getting the right amount of people in the door, and attracting new people and keeping our current customers happy. All of the things that go with having a marketing and a sales program in place. Oh yeah, and social media is part of that. Those are just tools, by the way. Social media is just a tool that falls under this. So we need to make sure that at all times, and we all need to do this all the time. This is something we all need to be checking up on ourselves all the time, on our business ecosystem, on our retail ecosystem. We will see more profits and have more fun. And I literally mean that if we really make sure that we're paying attention to all four parts of this ecosystem. And there's much more, again, that goes under each one. I just want you to start thinking about, and I never want to leave you without action steps. So we've kind of looked at the big picture. And again, that was front of house and all of the things that are involved with our product sales and displaying and merchandising and just being part of, our location and our services and all of the things. And again, a lot of us tend to live in that space a little bit more because it's usually a little bit more fun, honestly. Then there's the CEO role, like thinking about yourself as the CEO and all of the things that you need to do and you're totally capable of growing into. Again, just like that little goldfish, you can go into the bigger bowl, and the bigger bowl. We just need to make sure that we have all the right environments. So making sure that you're really, staying up on your personal development and really, making sure you're taking care of yourself as well. The third part is your systems, your business systems, making sure that you have the back of house. This is really where the CEO shines, understanding big picture planning and your money side of it and all of those things that are really important to running a successful retail business. All of the back end stuff, the systems and the policies and procedures and all of that, and understanding and having great control over where your money's going and your inventory money is sitting and how to order your inventory, and all of those things go into business systems. And then the fourth part, having a solid marketing and sales plan. And again, that does not just mean, I'm going to schedule out social media for a month. That's not a marketing plan. That is a tool that we use for our marketing plan. And there's a big difference there, my friends. Also understanding your ideal client and understanding your brand, all of that's important. So I want you to start thinking with those four things in mind all the time. And I literally have like this written on my paper here with a circle, and think about the fish tank again. When we started, we are totally fine in the small little fish tank, and we can't live there forever though. That goldfish can't live there forever. We have to change the water all the time. And, we don't want to see it. We have to make sure that we are managing ourselves properly and making sure we're taking care of that ecosystem. And it's really just done by being intentional about keeping all these parts going and paying attention and not kind of like, la, 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 I'm not going to look over there. I don't really care about being a CEO. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do systems. And I see that a lot. And the retailers that I see having great success, and success, of course, meaning, feeling in control of their business, seeing profits and being happy in their business. That's really what success is for me, whatever the numbers are, whether it's a tiny little one again, or you're a large retail business. It really is what is success for you. And that's usually making profits and being happy and enjoying your business. It's totally possible as we grow and as we go through all these, keeping our ecosystem happy. And it's habits. There's a lot of habits that have to go in place here. And that's just really us being intentional about them. So the action steps today, your takeaway, what you can do today to pay attention and to think about this. The first one is put your CEO hat on. I really want you to put that CEO hat on as you're thinking about this. We are, and I say this a lot, I know, but our heart will convince our head of anything. So put your CEO hat on. sit tall and think about all of these areas of your business. So that's your first part. And then second part is evaluate honestly where your business ecosystem might be a little off. Like, where do you need to pay a little more attention to? And it might be, we kind of all know sometimes we like, where do we focus our time? And Wendy, I don't know what to do. That's what I get all the time. Like, I don't know where to focus my time. I don't know what my next step is or what I should be looking at or how do I grow? And that's all we have to do, my friends, is really pay attention to our ecosystem and, making sure that we have some thoughts on all of those and what we're doing at whatever stage you are, whatever size fish tank you're in right now, my friend. What do you need to do? And if, again, we have lots of support in my programs that can help you, but you probably know a lot of things that you want to do. So the third thing is, I want you to think, okay, now you've like, oh, great. Wendy's just given me an overwhelming, there's so many things maybe that you feel like you should be doing or that you want to do in your business to make sure that this ecosystem is balanced. And first of all, I want you to give yourself some grace. Everybody has a lot of things they're working on in their ecosystem. There's always going to be things. But if you really want to grow and you really want to see success, pick one thing right now. Just pick one thing that and don't write like a big overarching, like all the marketing things. Pick one thing. I really want to understand my client better. I really need to work on that under my marketing strategy. And maybe even if you have the time and the energy, or you just really want to start moving forward, you could pick one thing under each category that you need to. But pick one thing and go deep with that one thing. Learn it, understand it. If it's numbers, maybe you just want to learn how to read your profit and loss a little bit better, or understand your inventory better, or your balance sheet, or have a conversation with your bookkeeper that you don't feel like they're just talking at you, and you really want to understand what happens if we do this with this number, and what can we do, and then how does that affect our marketing? And this is where the magic happens. I know I say that a lot, but honestly, really getting control. And you all know my mission is for you to all feel really capable and confident. We can all do it. We just need to know the ecosystem. We need to know the things to do. So hopefully you'll pick one thing and get really dig into it. Google it, find support, ask mentors, ask fellow shop owners, whatever that one thing is that you really want to get good at, and learn and dive in. And that's where you can start to work on your ecosystem. But understanding that there is an ecosystem and that there is it really does matter to have all of these things covered on a consistent basis. And if we have too much of one thing, if we have too many goldfish in this tiny little pot, it's not going to work, right? So we have to make sure if we spend all our time on marketing and promotions and we don't work on our systems and our numbers, or we spend all our energy and time in personal development and learning all the things, but we're not really paying attention to our front of house and how our customer experience is, our ecosystem is off. So I really want to encourage you today. I hope you found this really helpful. And again, your action steps are: put your CEO hat on, evaluate honestly what's happening in your business ecosystem. And again, hopefully these 4 categories will make it easy for you. And then just start with one thing. One thing might even just take you one day to learn. It might just be one thing. And you're like, I'm awesome at this now. We got this one part of the system that we feel better about. And then what? Then just pick one more thing, one thing at a time. Eat the elephant one bite at a time, my friends. So I hope you found this helpful. Please remember, if you need to reach out for support, if I can help you in any way with my programs and services, we have the monthly coaching group at the Retailers Inner Circle that we would love to have you join us if you're not already a member. And I have other programs and coaching services available. You can find everything at wendybatten.com. And of course, we have lots of podcasts that might help you. Please reach out if you are not sure if I can help you. And if I can't help you, I might know other coaches that can in different areas, and I might have different support that can help you. And I'd be pleased to help you and point you in the right direction if my services aren't aren't there to help you. So I'm wishing you a wonderful week of sales. I hope you feel good. I hope this ecosystem is like you're thinking in my fish tank now in your head. So if you're out for your walk today, well, I hope you're doing your self-care or you're working out or whatever you're doing today to take care of you. I hope that, you're thinking of how fish tanks work and how they relate to your business as well too. And I hope you are experiencing a healthy ecosystem in your business. Stay well, my friends, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. I love, love, love to see your comments on the podcast. If you would be so kind to ever leave a review, I would be so grateful. I love that you're here. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. We'll see you next week, my friend. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.